Well, good evening to my fellow student. I guess this is the last video that we will be doing for this class. Um, so let me get at the questions here. First question, what did you learn about yourself in this process? What was the process like for you? Well, I guess for me, I learned I was a little more addicted to coffee than I thought. Um, I say that because at certain times or situations it would come up where I would want a cup of coffee. I found myself really wanting it. Normally, that would be sitting down to do an assignment, read. Usually, it just gives me that sort of complete feeling, I guess. You know, when I sit down to do homework, that I've got my coffee there and I'm sitting at my desk and it just seems natural. And when I didn't have that, it really seemed a little more difficult than I thought it would. Next question. Identify how your post treatment behavior change could be similar to your wellness plan. Well, post treatment behavior and wellness plan. I guess the question's a little more difficult for me to answer since after this assignment I will go back to drinking coffee. But if that was the case, they would both have to do with maintaining the sobriety against coffee in this case. That would include putting plans into place that would keep me from going back, maybe relapsing, surrounding me with people that would not have a negative impact on this. I guess it's maybe some in the way of a relapse prevention plan where you would put into place certain things that would keep you from relapsing, whether it be figuring out your risk factors, high risk situations, so forth. But you would want to identify all these things to keep that from happening. What were the outside environmental influences and responses, people, places, or things? Well, I guess my outside influence would have been my mother. When I first told her that I was doing this assignment and not drinking coffee, she kind of looked at me with raised eyebrows because she knows how much I like my coffee. And she was actually a little concerned for my wife because she knows that I might get a little grumpy if I don't have it. And she just kind of questioned, are you sure you want to do this? So she was kind of the influence from the outside. I guess the other influence from the outside would have been sitting down to do homework, like I mentioned before. I found that to be a little more difficult. Um, it just didn't feel right, just to not have that cup there. So where did you find the greatest support, and what was it about this support that was so beneficial? So I think my greatest support would have been my wife, because of course at the beginning, as I mentioned, she said she would not drink coffee with me. It really helped a lot knowing that she was doing this with me, although in her defense, she doesn't drink near as much coffee as I do. Um, so it was probably a little easier for her, but beside that, it was just the fact that she was willing to do it with me. Um, so rate your overall progress between 0 and 10. 0 making the least amount of progress, 10 making the maximum amount. I would have to say probably an 8. I found it a little more difficult, and I can't say anything better than an 8 because there is that one time I did drink that cup of coffee that I mentioned in the previous discussion board. So um, overall, I have definitely learned that I am definitely a little more, um, I guess, addicted to coffee than I anticipated for this assignment. So I learned a great deal. So with that said, I really hope things have gone well for you. Um, I hope your husband has gotten his job back, and I just pray, Lord, that you just stay strong through this. If this is something you continue to do after this assignment, I wish you the very best. I'm sure you can. I'm sure you'll succeed. So, with that said, thanks. I really appreciate your responses, and I really enjoyed listening to what you had to say. So, good luck in your future classes. All right, bye.